Hi everybody, it's Liquid Lunch, a special edition. It's me, Hugh Reilly, and I've got a fantastic new co-host today, Jasmin Ostovic.
Hey,
who's
Yaz, I go by.
Yaz, we're going to call her Yaz from now on. She's normally from California, but she's here today, which is great. And also we got Daniel Case joining us here on the couch. And but our special guest today for this special edition is Chris Kehler, who's joining us via Skype from Winnipeg. And Chris, it's really great to have you on the show and to meet you using this technology. And so, first of all, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Now, I just want to kind of introduce people to what you do. You're a quantum energy healer using the ancient form of pendulum dowsing for finding the root cause of all health problems, working with pyramid energies and various sacred geometry tools. It's funny because last night when we were talking about doing this, we started to play with some pendulums ourselves. And so we're interested in having a very involved conversation, but especially for dealing with health issues. And you use your open mind to develop the fundamentals and theories for successful healing protocols, and you're using those on clients all around the world. And I was speaking with Hayden, and he was saying that you're better known overseas than you are here in Canada, and we're trying to change that here today.
That would be a good thing. It would be good to be able to work in your own backyard a little bit more, but the UK has been extremely big. Australia has been very big. I was in at 7 a.m. Winnipeg time this morning working in the UK, starting on people, and it just bops all around the planet. Lots in the States. California is very big. People are very open-minded in California. So it's been a wonderful trip. Every day I get to go to all these different countries and listen to different accents.
Well, it's so first of all, tell us how you got into it, because it sounds very esoteric, and we get to meet all kinds of people here on Liquid Lunch. But how did you get into this line of work?
It was about 12 years ago. My first wife passed away. She had a rare disease called scleroderma. And at the time, I was in the printing industry. I did that for 28 years. That was my craft. I was in management at the Winnipeg Sun, at our local newspaper here in Winnipeg. And when she passed away, it opened the door for me to make a decision to retire from what I was doing. So at 47 years old, I decided to quit printing. And I went every morning to Tim Hortons and sat around with old people and talked about the weather. And, long story short, the old saying goes, when one door closes, another door opens. Yes. And what had happened is I met somebody who does this type of work. And right away, I had this interest in it. And I thought, hey, this is something I need to pay attention to. And because I'm retired, I got nothing better to do. I thought, let's check this out. And the more I was around this person, seeing his craft, I was really drawn to it. And I started taking some courses, met some other people in Alberta. Alberta's really big with this work. There's a lot of wonderful people in Alberta. And started developing my intuition and realizing that there's something big out there, something that we can access, something that we can use to better people's lives and health. And long story short is, here I am today, 11 years later when I started doing this work, and I've got a worldwide practice. Things are working. We're working on health problems, all different types of problems, whether it's spiritual based, whether it's physical based, and at the end of the day, things are working for people. We're getting all kinds of wonderful results. So, that's how I got the start. It was something bad had to happen for something good to happen.
All right, and we should let people know we're actually going to do some healing on the show today in the second hour. And both of you guys have some issues that we're going to try to get Chris to resolve a little bit. We'll talk about the details of that a little bit later. But Chris, can you maybe tell, and also guys, just remember this is going to be conversation, so if you have anything you really want to ask Chris about, just bring it up.
anything at all. There's no holds barred here. We live in Winnipeg. We got nothing to hide.
And so maybe you can explain a little bit how this particular form of healing works, Chris.
Well, there's a lot of different forms of healing. There's Reiki, quantum touch, EFT, all these different modalities, we call them. So what I have done is I've taken a few different courses from different people and learned different things from people. And I took all the good stuff from all these courses and made my own way of doing things. So I basically cherry-picked all the good stuff and kept it for myself. What my method does, and as you said, it uses a pendulum. Okay, so I have a pendulum, and I have a series of charts. So here's the charts I developed, okay? And within these charts are all different possibilities of what could be your health problem, whether it's, something to do with anxiety, pain, headaches, whatever. It doesn't matter what it is. Within these charts is the answer, one way, shape, or form. So I use my pendulum and I ask questions. And when you're pendulum dowsing, the question is more important than the answer. If you don't ask the right question, you don't get the right answer. Okay, so that's the way I've formed the whole system. So when somebody tells me what their problem is, I'll get a little bit of information from them, and we'll form a focus. If you put the right focus in the right way, the pendulum. I work directly with source, okay, soul source, and I will get the answers needed to move the energy out of your body to fix the problem. And if we hit the problem right on the head, generally most people feel an instant result. That's how quick it is.
Okay, so, and then, you mentioned a couple of health issues there. Is there any limit to the health issues that you can deal with? Because, well...
Of course there is limits. I can't regrow a limb, okay? But ultimately, the limits are, you're only limited by your belief. You're only limited by your doubt. You're only limited by the way you form the question and the way you use the answer. That's your limitations, really. So ultimately, we're manifesting a healing. We're manifesting the answers, and as humans we have this ability to manifest things in our lives. If we need something, we think about it enough, you can manifest it. If you ask for it, you can manifest it, make it happen. If you pray to God, say a prayer, and the prayer gets answered, that's a manifested request. And that's basically what we're doing here, is utilizing a lot of different laws of the universe, law of attraction, law of intent, all these different abilities that we have, and using it for a good purpose to help somebody with an issue.
Okay, well, I have a question for you. Do you believe that something from someone's childhood, let's say, whether it's a type of trauma, could that affect the individual physically in some part of their body later?
Well, 100%. There's a lot of problems are trauma-based. So if there's any type of sexual traumas, mental abuse, all these different things can form blockages in different areas of your body, and generally in a chakra, and that chakra will affect a different area. So if it's, let's say, in your solar plexus chakra is a blockage, that could affect your intestines, it could affect different parts of the body. So 100% traumas I do work with quite a bit, and it does make a big difference. Louise Hay is very big with working with emotional trauma.
Yes, I'm
She
familiar
says that
with her.
everything
Yes.
is an emotional problem. She's right, but I go further than that and find out what is causing the emotional trauma.
Okay, great.
So, some people talk about that disease is all trauma-based. Would that be a fair assessment? Our traditional medical establishment looks at it either being a biological problem, like a virus or a bacteria, or it could be a chemical problem, especially in the realm of psychology these days. It's also chemistry.
Yeah.
But what would you comment on that?
There's a few different aspects that I look at as the cause of a health problem. Now, generally, it's going to be some kind of energy-based issue to work with first. So as I said, I look for what's causing that trauma. So generally, let's look at anxiety. Okay, how many people out there have anxiety? Raise your hands. Everybody's raising their hands. We all have some kind of anxiety. Worry, fear, that's all a form of anxiety. Now, what is causing that anxiety in 90% of everybody I work with, 99% for that matter, is a reptilian entity within the sympathetic nervous system raising up that system to create all this anxiety. The sympathetic system is your fight or flight system. So if you're always in fight or flight, you're in anxiety. That anxiety is an energy that these entities like to use as a food. They feed off of it. So the more anxiety they can create within you, the more they're going to eat. So it's something that they need in order to survive, and it causes problems within us. So there is an energy trauma, let's call it. So as you move out those energies of the extraterrestrial that's causing a problem, then there's going to be some kind of physical issue that entity is going to use against you to cause that anxiety. And that could be anything like steroids from cattle. It could be glyphosate from Roundup. It could
birth
be
control pills,
types of chemicals. So there's always going to be an energy trauma and some kind of a real third world trauma within the cells, within the body, causing a problem.
Tell me more about this reptilian entity, or would it be a spirit that has attached itself to you, or if you are involved in the occult and you get involved in these things and certain people come into your circle, can they psychically attack you? And when your guard is down, these entities can latch onto you in your moments of weakness, and then it translates and manifests into disease later in certain areas of your body.
There's quite a lot of concept about the whole ET thing. You can go on the internet and just Google the word extraterrestrial or reptilian and get all kinds of information. David Icke, David Wilcock, all the Davids talk about reptilians. There's a lot of different information out there. But what I find is that we're a human being. We're born basically with a reptilian attached to us on a daily basis. Some people can actually sense that they're there. Some people are energy sensitive enough to see them. Okay, not many people are, but some are, and they scare the heck out of you. Okay, they look like a demon. They got horns, they got wings, they got all that stuff going on. I saw one right up close, right up in my face. I was halfway in and out of sleep, and I saw one right up close, and I scared it away. Okay, I just said boo, and he took off. So they are there. And again, just as being a human, this is one of the reasons why we're here as a human race, is for their service. We are slaves to them, to mine gold, to provide them with energy for food. A lot of different things are involved. Now, there is another concept called the sacrifice or the ritual. If there's somebody in your life who is very dark-minded, somebody who is of a, let's say, a satanic nature, this person can bring you into their life and, through the powers of the universe, offer your soul up as a sacrifice to the dark forces for them to feed off of you. And all of a sudden, you've got some very big health problems happening. You have a lot of psychological problems happening. There's things happening in your life that you can't explain. So the sacrifice, the ritual, the giving of the soul is another big concept with the reptilians. They are very much involved with it.
There's a lot of talk about the reptilians on the internet these days, but we've heard some of these stories about that we're a slave race to the reptilian overlords, whether those be the royal families or whatever, Chris. But it sounds like what you're like. Are they walking around, or are they on a different plane or dimension? Are they physical like we are, or how is that connected?
One of the big connections that I find is that the planet Saturn is a very dark planet. You can Google it and research it. It's known as a dark planet. At one time, it was our sun. Okay, the reptilians for Saturn for reptilians is their home planet. So within our energy, we have something called the astral body. This is where we astral travel, and a lot of people know about astral traveling. They do it at will, and they end up, coming back with some health problems. But our astral body is connected to the rings of Saturn. That's how they get to us. That's their portal into us in order to do this energy thing that they do. They're not sitting right behind you. It's more so that there's a connection. And through that connection, yes, they are right here with you through quantum entanglement. They are basically sitting right here with us. You'll never see one. When I remove one out of you, you won't see one, going into the clouds. You will feel some kind of energy lifting off of your body, and you might feel a change in your energy when it happens. But you're not going to see one. It just isn't quite like that.
I've had Reiki done before where I felt there was this thing that was there, and it was just wanting to latch on to me, and it was a lot of self-guilt that I felt, and when the individual was trying to take it off, it just wanted to linger and stay on there. It was I felt like there was like an alien trying to come off of me.
Yeah.
So is that related to that same energy you're talking about, where they're like sucking off of my energy?
Yes, 100%. That's really what it was. And within the certain laws of the universe, if that person doing Reiki is making the intent to remove this reptilian, that's when it leaves. So what a person doing Reiki is when they're just standing running energy through their hands, all they're doing is running energy through their hands, which is not a bad thing. But that entity doesn't have to leave because it hasn't been told to leave. Okay? When I find it, I identify it. The law of identification comes into effect, and just like hide and seek, 1, 2, 3 on Yaz, but it's really Daniel. Daniel's not caught. Same thing within the energy world. So when I identify it, I tell it to leave. It has to leave.
Okay.
So it sounds like so are you saying that any kind of physical illness is related to one of these entities, Chris?
I'm going to say probably, a good 90-95%, especially serious chronic illnesses that just don't seem to want to go away. Okay, we all get a flu, and then we, in a week or so, it's gone. Okay, that's not so much entity driven. There might be some other energy components, but it's not really entity driven. It's the chronic ones. Okay, the sciatic pain that just will never go away. The migraine that is always there, will never go away no matter what you do or take. So within the clientele I have, because people who seek my help know about a lot of this stuff, and they research it, and they realize that it's there. 95% of all my clientele is all energy based. You got to clear the etheric bodies. You got to clear all of the aura and the chakras, and you got to clear the soul and reconnect the soul in order to get to the actual physical attribute of the problem. So, is it entity driven? I'm going to say, yeah, probably almost every health problem of a serious nature is entity driven.
Would it also be true then that besides health problems, other issues could be entity driven, whether they're maybe money driven, somebody that just is always dealing with lack in their lives, or maybe they are having a problem just with people all the time, social problems,
conflicts,
that sort of thing.
Things happen constantly, always getting into some type of odd scenario.
Yeah.
Could that also be how Christians would put it, a spiritual attack by a demonic entity, where you call it a reptilian entity, or it could be viewed as the angel and the devil. One side of you is telling you what to do correctly and how to live properly, and then the evil entity or the reptilian is constantly in your ear trying to get you to self-destruct and go the wrong path.
Yeah, there's definitely that's all energy. Okay, that's all entity driven. Now, to be fair to the reptilians, there's more than just the reptilians. There's the Greys, okay, the ones that we see on the internet all the time, the big black eyes. There's also something called jinn. The jinn are very big in the Middle East, okay? The word jinn in Arabic means genie. So the story of Aladdin and his magic lamp comes to mind, where he rubs the lamp and the genie gives him 3 wishes. So there are people who can manipulate the jinn to do things for them. If you listen to Islamic extremists, death to infidels. Well, who's infidels? We are, because we don't agree with Sharia law. So, of course, now in North America, there's a lot of problems happening. Look at the States. They're going a heck in a handbasket now, aren't they? There's a lot of energy being thrown in the way of the jinn, and the way of different spiritual thoughts are very big. So a lot of the jinn are causing problems. If all of a sudden you're standing there and you lose your balance and fall over, that is a jinn playing a trick on you. These guys are ruthless, and all they want to do is make your life a living heck. Okay, it happened to me about 3 months ago. I was skating, and for no reason, I live in Canada, I live in Winnipeg, I play hockey, I can skate. All of a sudden, my feet came out from under me, and I almost broke my wrist. What better way to take out the energy guy than to break his wrist?
It's funny, yeah. Okay, so
there's no coincidences.
now, do you work with people then that are having some of these other problems, non-health problems, but do you deal with somebody who's maybe feels that they've got a curse going on around money or around social issues and that sort of thing?
Yes, there are a lot of people who do, their families have a history of doing witchcraft, curses, doing different types of energy manipulations. And I will get people call me up, somebody gave me a curse again, can you please lift it off of me? People know about the curse, okay? A curse can be as simple as a negative thought addressed to somebody. So if you talk behind somebody's back in a negative way quite a bit, that's a negative energy that through quantum entanglement, it's projected to that person, and it'll create a negative roll of energy within their body. Then the jinn say, oh, okay, I'll get that one, and they come in and make life rough for you. Okay, curses, when they say something runs in the family, so a heart attack run in the family. It's not a heart attack that runs in the family, it's the curse that runs in the family. So if you're in a family and you all have... Yesterday I worked with somebody who had a lymphoma on their back the size of a grapefruit. And so I started asking him some questions, and I said, does anybody else have this? He says, yeah, my brother does. I says, well, there you go, it's a curse. Somebody put a curse on you guys. You lift the curse, and then you make the intent to remove whatever is there within the subcutaneous fat of the body, and the problem goes away. He felt changes right away. So it's very important to know about curses, about spells, witchcraft. Voodoo is a very big one. Okay, all these different types of negative thoughts, how they can be projected is really what needs to be understood. Okay, so once you can understand how it all works, how the dark side works, how all this negative stuff works, if you can manifest something positive in your life, you can manifest something negative in your life, depending on your polarity, depending on your frame of mind. Anything can happen at any rate. You can get up every morning, look in the mirror and say, I'm never going to get out of this crummy job. You just cursed yourself. You're going to create that energy to make it happen.
True, very true.
So let me ask you, so what's going on? Chris, you're bringing this kind of insight into the whole health issue, but then you're talking about what's happening in the U.S., like on a global, political, social level, all this stuff. I mean, when we were kids, I never heard about aliens, reptiles, reptilians, in royal families, or you didn't even hear about it being affecting your health like this, right? So this is kind of new and culturally new information for to hit the mass consciousness here. And I know I want to ask you about, because you talk about ascension, fifth dimension ascension, and that sort of thing as well. Like, what is going on? What's your kind of from a high level view of what's going on the planet right now? And how does that affect us as we're facing individual health problems and that sort of thing?
Okay, so the whole fifth dimension thing is more so a shift in consciousness. And you can say the word awareness. What are you aware of around you? Are you just aware of what's in front of you, or are you aware of what's 360? Okay, so a lot of people have had their awakening. I had my awakening in 2005 when my first wife passed away, and I found this type of work. That was an awakening, like, wow, what is all this stuff? So what's happening with a lot of people, they're coming to the realization that we're all being blindsided by the governments, we're all being blindsided by stuff on the news, we're being blindsided with bull dung, okay? We're not being told the truth about things. And then people are going on the internet and discovering a lot of these different higher level energy things that are going on, and realizing, hey, something's wrong. Okay, so the whole fifth dimension shift is a consciousness shift, and it's being facilitated by all of the dark energy leaving the planet. Okay, now the fellow who makes my tools, here's one of my energy tools. Okay, this is a pyramid called a Vesica Pisces. What he does to make money is he makes these tools and sells them worldwide. I sell them on my website, very high energy tools. What his job is to go into consciousness and clear the earth grid, which is an energy level of all the dark energy. Okay, that's what his job is. So basically for 2 or 3 hours a day, he sits in a bathtub, and he says it's the equivalent to sitting in a bathtub of water with your finger in a light socket. That's the energy he's running. And he weighs about 98 pounds soaking wet, and he says it almost kills him every time he does it. And that's his job, that's his calling, that's his dharma. Okay, so a lot of the negative energy is being cleared out, and that is all of the reptilian stuff is leaving. There's a being called the Sith, and they are what I believe is a form of the Jinn at a different level. They are being cleared out. Now, of course, you've all heard about the Sith in Star Wars, and what's the guy's name? Spielberg, whoever wrote it, got the name from somewhere, so he got it from us. There are beings called the Sith that exist, and I move them out on a daily basis. They've been cleared out of the earth grid. The gods of sin, all sin has been cleared out of the planet. All this dark energy that constitutes and boils down to what's going on within our lives is being cleared out on a daily basis. We call it a shift. It's an energy shift of energy that is exiting the planet. Some people may just be standing there one day, all of a sudden they feel a little dizzy and weak and tired. That is some kind of energy shift within your body, releasing something of a dark nature, okay? It happens to many of us, and we end up going to the doctor, and he says, oh, just take these antibiotics. But it's actually an energy shift. So another concept is that our souls are being reconnected to soul source. Instead of the reptilians having access to our soul, now the souls are being shifted over and connected right to soul source. Some people call it God. I call it soul source. When you say the word God, there's many, many gods. The God of rock and roll, God of thunder, God of this and that. They all want to be gods, all these demigods. So I like to refer to it as source. So there's a big shift of energy, of our energy, reconnecting with source to a pure, loving source that is going to bring a lot of good stuff forward. So a lot of the bad things happening around us, a lot of people might all of a sudden be noticing that they're not hanging around with those negative friends anymore. All of a sudden they realize, I haven't seen so-and-so jerk off in quite a while, because you are now distancing yourself from a lot of negativity. So if you find yourself researching a lot of different things, maybe some alternatives, like maybe all of a sudden you have a health problem, instead of going to the doctor, now you're researching herbs, now you're researching essential oils, now you're researching energy healers. That is your shift, okay? And that is your awakening of consciousness. So that's really what it's all about. There's not going to be a big light switch flicked and all of a sudden everything is white light and candles. It's going to be changes within your own consciousness. It all begins right here with yourself, okay? That things are going to change. You're going to distance from negative people. I've had friends for 40 years that I said, I can't see you anymore, you're negative. And I had no problem doing that. So that is really what the whole thing is about. That's my take on it for the most part. And you know what I find within my work, as far as an energy shift or a consciousness shift, is I'm getting more and more knowledge. I'm getting more and more successful channelings from source for me to look at certain problems. One day I was working with somebody in the UK and they had very weak legs, and I was told to move mad cow disease from their femoral nerves. As soon as I did that, they could get up and walk. Okay, so that information is now starting to come in. Just as within you, within everyone else, that information is coming in. It's up to you to identify it, know it's coming in, and know what to do with it. That's the important thing.
Okay, we're going to get into some heavy stuff here, Chris. And because I want to ask you, I mean, you just mentioned, correct me if I'm wrong on any of this, though, but you just mentioned that there's lots of gods. The god of thunder, the god of rock and roll. I know you're just kind of making those names up, but for a lot of people to think that there's like one god, one creator, to hear that idea might be a little bit disturbing.
It is, yeah.
And I also want to, because we were talking about, we were getting ready for this interview last night. Yaz was here, and we were talking about the pendulum use, because I know you use the pendulum, and then we started to kind of note some similarities between the pendulum use and things like the Ouija board or that Charlie thing that's going around on the internet now. And so I want to ask you about that. Like, are you sure that whoever you're working with there, what you're calling source, are you sure it's really, God or the positive creator energy?
100%, baby. 100%.
All right. Well,
there's absolutely no doubt. And how do I know this? Okay, number one, you got to have faith. Okay, that's what it really boils down to. You don't doubt what you're working with. If you're getting results the way I'm getting results, and if things are happening within people's lives, the way their lives are changing, you have to know that it is of a positive source. It is the right source to be with, no matter what it is, okay? I don't doubt it. I just go with it. I do my work. Things are fantastic. I've got 22 students. I've got this work. I have a course that you can buy on my website. I got students all over the world doing it and getting great successful results. And they all report back, you know what, the consciousness we're working with is really a consciousness of love. It's a consciousness of source. It is something that everybody's enjoying working with.
Okay. Now, and you're talking about, the negativity leaving the planet, whether it's, you mentioned your friend who's working to get rid of some of the dark energy, and then on the other hand, we hear stories, and if you're on the internet, there are all kinds of stuff that you hear about. I want to just run a couple by just to get your comment on it. People are talking about things like what CERN is doing, and that they're trying to create antimatter or dark matter or something, and that there's some people claim that there's an
increase of more negativity.
It creates
coming in.
Negativity, a negative behavior in human beings. It brings a certain amount of evil into people's lives. I don't know how true any of that is, but do you have any comment?
Yes, I do. First of all, I'm going to start off by saying Nostradamus has a quatrain, and it starts off by saying, Geneva, leave Geneva, bloodshed, bloodshed, bloodshed. Okay? Now, you can take Nostradamus any way you want, but that super collider is in the Geneva area, okay, in Switzerland. Now, when we talk about these energies, okay, they're trying to create the God particle, which is a very high level of energy. I've got it right here in my hand, okay? Yes, hold out your hand. You've got that God particle in your hand. It's right there. It's right here within us. We can all use it. That's what we're using when we're doing the healing, when we're manifesting things. We're taking this. It's a tachyon energy. For to try to put it into a term that we can try and wrap our heads around. It's a tachyon form of energy, which is faster than the speed of light, and it has consciousness. It'll do things for you. Okay. Now with CERN, if they're smashing all these protons and they're creating this high amount of energy. Of course, now that energy can be used for many, many things. So if you take and put intent into those smashed protons, think of what can happen at a very high level. Okay, so if I can heal somebody immediately using my intent, think of what could be done by putting your intent to something with that kind of power. Okay, so of course, if there are people who practice dark arts, okay, Aleister Crowley, all these weirdos who believe in Satan and honor Satan, all these satanic people, if they put their intent into that collider. There's many other colliders around the planet too. Fermilab is another big one in the States. Okay, so there's a lot of them. So if intent is put into that energy that's being created, think of what can be accomplished. So right away, the first thing people say is portals and wormholes opening. I say yes, 100%, because I close off stargates, portals, and wormholes within people's chakra system all the time. The energy in our bodies, the chakra system, can be used as an energy to open a stargate or a portal for an entity to come in and out.
Absolutely.
Okay? Oh, yes. So if you think of CERN, the energy in there, now, number one, it's either inert energy and nothing's happening, or lots of things are happening that we just don't know about yet. Now, of course, in my charts, I've got the possibility that the CERN super collider can be affecting your health. Really doesn't come up a lot. It rarely comes up, okay? Now, number one, either we haven't got to that point in knowledge yet as to it is a problem. Maybe it's not a problem yet. Maybe it's inert. Maybe there are forces of love that are knocking out that energy. I've seen videos of nuclear warheads being shot off on a missile, and a UFO comes and beams it and blows it up. Okay, so there are energies here to protect us. Okay, it is a known fact that there are energies, different beings here to protect us. So what's happening at CERN, I really don't know. I can't comment a lot on it, but I do know that there can be possibility that something could be happening with it.
Okay, so let's just keep talking. I just want to bring up some of these seemingly very negative things that are in the media, at least the alternative media, just to get your comment on it. And so let's talk about something, say, like chemtrails. I mean, if it's true what these things are, they're putting aluminum into the atmosphere. That's not good for soil. It's not good for human beings when it crosses the blood-brain barrier. And people are talking about, and getting back to the health, that there's a relationship between chemtrails and something called Morgellons disease, which is not even really recognized by the medical establishment. And do you have any comment on that?
Yeah. Now, what I like to comment on is things that I know about and things that I've experienced. Okay, chemtrails are an issue. Okay, one of my best friends is a pilot for Air Canada. I asked him about chemtrails. He says, "There's no such thing as chemtrails. You conspiracy theorists, go have another beer." Okay, yes, but you can see that there certainly is this chemtrail, and there's lots of intelligent people talking about them. Okay, so that's number one you got to pay attention to. Lots of intelligent people bringing up information. Now there's lots of scientists, lots of people who work for NASA coming forward and saying, yes, they exist and they're here for these reasons. Okay, now I'll tell you a story. I have a 2-year-old daughter now with my new marriage, okay, and she had this big runny nose with big green goop coming out. My wife says, okay, Mr. Healer Man, can you please fix your daughter? So I tried for 2 days to stop this runny nose, and it wouldn't stop. So I had to sit back and think, okay, it's got to be something that I'm missing. So I asked my charts, and it said to remove chemtrail virus. So I removed chemtrail virus from her sinuses. The next day, it shut off like a tap. So right away I thought, okay, there's the aluminum, the barium, the cobalt, all these things that are within the chemtrail. But they're also dropping viruses from there, okay? And that's I think that's more of an issue than the heavy metals coming out, because heavy metals are in everything.
Respiratory problems.
But I think the viruses are more of a problem.
Yes. Well, that kind of, what could be the purpose of that and who would be behind such a thing? People talk about a depopulation agenda. That sounds pretty dark to me. And if a lot of the illness that people are facing is man-made through things like the chemtrails, I mean, how do we turn that around? How do we turn around? How do we get rid of that kind of darkness that's trying to kill millions of people?
Well, there's of course there's a lot of talk about who's doing it, why they're doing it, and how do we stop it. So let's say there's no way that we can stop it because we can't really prove it. Okay, let's just use that scenario. What can you do to protect yourself? Okay, can you put on a raincoat? No, you can do energy work. Okay, learn how to do energy work on yourself to prevent all this from building up in your body. So if you do some research on energy work, or you even do some work with another energy healer, it doesn't have to be me, it can be anybody who knows about chemtrails and how they work. You can learn how to remove all of these toxic things from your body. Okay, and it's just a matter of using intent. I sell little rings, tiny little energy rings that you can hold between the palms of your hand. When you place the intent into that ring, it washes your body of whatever it is you want to intend out of it. So that's a really good way of doing it, is just learning how to use your intent to remove it, okay? As far as, are we going to ever catch the villains who are spraying our skies with all this stuff? Maybe not. Are we ever going to catch the people who knocked down the World Trade Center? Probably not. So I think ultimately you have to learn to protect yourself, learn to cleanse yourself, find the right energy healer to work with, and take care of the problem at hand.
And also, I think it's fair to say we don't exactly know 100% if this is a black operation or if the government is simply just being irresponsible in trying to prevent, global warming. And this is the byproduct of what the scientists are doing, is that this metallic particle, aluminum, barium chemical is actually affecting our health. But at the same time, it is slowing down the sun from melting the glaciers. Because whenever I see those chemtrails out, it's on a very, very sunny day. And you can see it. It's directly under the sun. And they do it all night long so people don't notice the next day, if possible. But
you know what? It could certainly be to stop global warming, to reflect the sun, and that's what they say it is. The particles reflect the sun. Now, are there arterial motives?
Right.
Ulterior motives along with it. Now, what's happening is that the conspiracy theory mill is going overtime on all of this stuff: the chemtrails, the Morgellons, the vaccinations, you name it. The conspiracy theorists are going crazy with it, and that's what takes credibility away from everything. Is the flat earthers? I mean, come on, please. Okay, conspiracy theorists galore on the internet. So what that does is it puts doubt in your mind about everything that you hear. Okay, so again, you have to take measures to protect yourself, to educate yourself on what it is, why it is, how to protect yourself. If you do that, you're going to be a lot better off than standing on a soapbox and yelling at the government.
Okay, now we're going to get into some healing a little bit later in the show, but still, this is a fascinating conversation. I'm loving every minute of it. And I got a few more questions, Chris, or a few more topics I'd really like to just get your opinion about. Talking about all this darkness and some of the seemingly horrible stuff that is happening. We mentioned the chemtrails already, but I want to ask you about, let's just go one at a time. What about the vaccines, though? And I wonder if that plays a role in some of the illnesses you might be treating. I mean, people talk about there being a possible link between autism and vaccines. Have you seen that yourself? And any comments, Chris?
The whole concept of vaccine, I don't see it a lot. Okay, I do once in a while find the mercury within the vaccination to plug up some areas in the brain a little bit, but what I always find within the vaccine is what's taking a ride in with the vaccine. So if there's an entity that wants to get into your body, the aura is our protection. We all have an aura. If there's no cracks in the aura, if everything's nice and healthy, they need a way to get in. And it's usually some kind of negative way. And a vaccine is a negative way. It's an intrusive thing. You're going to poke into your skin. So entities can get into that vaccine and then get into your body. That is what I find mostly. Okay, and it's when you're getting a needle and a vaccine, it's much like a ritual sacrifice. You just sacrificed yourself. okay, by doing that. It's a sacrificial ritual. That's what it ends up being. And then your soul and your energy and your body ends up being sacrificed in certain ways. You can almost envision an altar and being tied down and things going on, okay? That is what happens. I work with many clients who wake up in the middle of the night and they feel like they're being sexually assaulted. And they actually see a bit of blood on their sheets. It happens. So when you're agreeing to take that let's call it a covenant. Let's call it almost like an oath. When you get a vaccine, you're giving yourself to whatever is in that vaccine, which is some kind of dark entity. So it's the components of the vaccine. I mean, if you're a baby and you get 12 vaccines, and there's going to be some problems. But as you get older, are the vaccines really that bad? I don't find it a lot. Okay, I don't condone vaccines. My children aren't vaccinated. I'm never going to do that. But I don't really see it at that big of a level. Okay. Now, if I do find it, it might be the nano aluminum or the mercury or something else, another adjunct within the vaccine that might be causing a problem. But it does, for me, it's not really comes up as that big of a deal. Maybe not yet. I don't know, but it's just not, for the vaccine itself. Not so much.
Well, let me ask you about the autism then, just because there is such a prevalence of it, and it seems obviously it's been increasing ridiculously since whenever, right? Since the 90s or earlier.
It's just so flourishing everywhere.
And have you had any experience dealing with autistic clients, Chris, and what does come up then for you?
Well, I am working with one person right now in the States. I believe he's, an early teenager. And what I've been moving a lot of is all these different consciousness. Now, the big one with autism is the consciousness of Set. And Set is from Egyptian mythology, S-E-T-H. Set is for all intents and purposes, let's call him the devil. The devil doesn't exist, but if there was one of that energy, it would be Set, okay? So, again, when you get all these vaccinations, you are giving yourself up as a sacrifice, and then all these other things start to come into play. Lower dimensions, different entities here, there, and everywhere. All these different things happening within a person's energy that is causing this construct, the deconstruct of a person's mind. So again, it's more so all the negative energy components along with it. If it was just mercury and aluminum, we can get rid of that in a second. The guy's fine. But no, they're not. They need to go to a much different level to find all these problems.
Do you know what the reason is then that we're seeing this epidemic in autism?
There's a lot of different things. I would say the people I work with, again, it's all to do with lower dimensional energy, with sacrifices and rituals, and people are getting more vaccinations. Okay?
I can say one thing though, Russell Blaylock. Anyone whose child is suffering from autism, you need to watch his DVD. He was a neurosurgeon. He made incredible revelations about the chemicals that are in those vaccinations, what happens when companies like Merck, who are a Nazi company, are combining these vaccinations together. Certain children's brain have complete overload. They can't handle that amount of chemicals in the brain. I've seen it happen to my friend's child. A week after it got her son got his vaccination at school. So it did slow down, I think, after they were taken to trial to take the mercury out. But they simply just replaced it with thimerosal, which is the same thing as NutraSweet and aspartame. They just give it a different name, and it's the same thing.
But it's interesting that what you're saying, Chris, is that it's an Egyptian god?
Egyptian god named Set, who's actually reptilian. Okay, you look at reptilian records and Egyptian records, you look at all the hieroglyphs, and what person has the head of a bird? Okay, I mean this is all at a much different level than just a human in Egypt. Okay, it's much different. Now, one thing that does happen with the components in a vaccination, with aspartame, with glyphosate, with anything, is it causes the carbon element within our body. We're carbon-based life forms. The carbon element has 4 different electrons. It causes one of those electrons to split out. So now the cells start to separate, and that is called oxidation or free radicals. So that creates another problem. So it's not so much the thing itself, because that's run its course. Now the damage it's done is in that carbon element that you need to repair and replace all the electrons back.
Okay, so we've been going for about an hour here, Chris, and we were talking about getting into some actual healing. Well, I was going to say hands-on, but it's remote, obviously, distance healing, because you're in Winnipeg. And we've got our third guest joining us here on the couch. We've got Hilton joining us. Hilton,
Welcome,
great to have you here. Thanks for
coming today.
making it out.
Thank you, Hugh.
How's it going?
Oh, most excellent.
Hilton, what's your story, buddy?
Let's see. Seeing.
I see a patch on your eye. There's got to be something to do with that, right?
Yeah. Seeing clearly. I've had retinal detachment in both eyes and multiple surgeries. And my right eye was my dominant eye throughout my life. 4 years ago, when it detached and half a dozen surgeries later, it just never reconnected enough to regain its dominance. So it's patched now because the 1% of sight that it does have, just in a little crescent on the edge, gives me a lot more blackout. The doctors say they stopped measuring after 2020, 2200 they say is legally blind. After 2400 they stopped measuring. I'm somewhere out in the ether.
Can I say something, Hilton? I don't know if you remember this, but when you were on the show with that girl that was with John of God, do you remember the story she told about a past life?
Yes.
And I don't know if that's relevant, Chris.
Sometimes it is.
Well, basically, if I remember correctly, she said, Hilton, I think that you were involved in the War of 1812 down in Niagara and saw a little too much stuff that you would have preferred that you didn't see.
Right. And,
and of course, that can be very relevant. Mm-hmm. And that takes a lot to get into. If there is a past life problem, all I do is I separate the past life from the timestamp, from your soul matrix, from your astral field, and from your body, and then it doesn't exist anymore. It's just an energy. It's a vestige of energy. It's sitting there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to reestablish all the electrons within the retina of your eye. So there's a lot of free radical cell activity.
Should I take off the eye patch? Will it make it easier?
It's okay.
All right.
There's a lot of free radical cell activity, and it's damaging the retina. That's why it's detaching.
I'm going to do this.
So let's put the electrons back in there.
And he's asking for both eyes there, Chris.
Yes.
We'll do both eyes, no problem. If you had 4 of them, we'd do all 6. Okay, here we go. Okay, within the retinas of Hilton's eyes, electrons true. In the retinas of the left and right eye, electrons true. So just by saying the word true, it puts them in there. In the retinas, electrons true.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Lord.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for this healing.
Oh, you're more than welcome. Within the retinas, all electrons true. Okay, so electrons are now reestablishing within the retinas. So what I'm going to do now is make the intent for the retinas to reattach and to heal to a perfect vitality. And to do that, we're going to use tachyons. Okay, send and use tachyons to repair the retinas and reattach them to the optic disc. Send and use tachyons to repair all damage to the retinas, reattach them to the optic disc. Okay, this is a very strong energy. I'm feeling a lot of pull off of it. Within Hilton's eyes, send and use tachyons to repair all damage, reconnect them to the optic disc.
Perhaps as well as the corneas, which are distorted and,
Yeah. So do you feel any sensation in your eyes at all? Maybe a tingle or warmth or anything at all?
almost like a bit of a rumble.
Okay, so stuff is moving, stuff is happening.
Yeah.
Now, let's see. What problem do we now need to work on within Hilton, please? Gee, if I can make the blind see, all I got to do is learn to walk on water. Okay. Problem is... Okay.
It's throwing the energy off in my stomach. It's like something fierce right now. Oof.
What problem for Hilton? Problem is high levels of Okay, what I'm finding is that there's high levels of sin within your eyes. So this may go back to a past life, to something you've seen. So we're going to remove all of the sin. And sin is generally when it has something to do with somebody's life. Taken a life, sacrificed a life, something to that nature. This is not sin like picking your nose and wiping it under the table. This is something to do with somebody's life. So let's remove all the sin from your eyes. Within Hilton's eyes, all sin false. Sin false. Within the eyes, sin false. Forgive all sin within the eyes. Okay, that is lifting. Does that change the energy at all?
Tears, brighter right now, burning. Wow.
Okay, we're getting some movement. Getting some movement. A bit of emotion is not a bad thing, my friend.
Yeah.
Okay, what problem now for Hilton? I can walk on water. In Winnipeg, and in the wintertime, you can walk across the lake, no problem. What problem?
I thought that was for 10 months of the year.
Okay, big problem is... Okay, the big problem is gone. Okay, this is good. So we're going to say... Okay, let's finish it up. Hilton's vision, true. Hilton's vision 2020, true. We're just making the intent for the vision to improve. Hilton's vision 2020, true. There it is. So the intent is placed. What are you going to experience? There might be some improvement, okay? Ultimately, if we went a little further with this, things we could find more and more and more things and keep on. You can go almost forever doing energy. Is always something. But the fact that you're feeling something happening, you're feeling a little bit of shifting in the eyes, that tells me we're making some improvements already.
Yes.
I felt it myself when you were telling the sin to forgive all sin from the eye. I felt a sense of forgiveness from Source. I felt it just sitting next to him.
I also felt like a disturbance in my stomach as well.
Yeah, because you got a lot of stuff going on, Daniel. You've got a lot of stuff going on, my friend.
We're going to help Daniel today too, right?
Yeah.
Chris,
Okay, Daniel.
Chris, I also just
Yes.
noticed a shift in there are very few things I allowed myself to hate, but I had hated seeing violence or hurt to others and didn't want to see it. Some of the ugliness of this world.
And that again, as I said before, we get up in the morning, look in the mirror, and say, "I'll never get out of this crummy job." What you said is, "I never want to see violence again. I never want to see hurt or murder or dead bodies again." What happened? You went blind. So there's an old saying: "Be careful what you wish for. You just might get it." And that's probably one of the things that happened. One of the things involved is that they said, "Okay, no problem. You will never see this again."
Wow, very, very true. Life and death is in the power of the tongue, everyone.
Careful what you wish for, you just might get it.
So
I wish I got hit by a bus. Well, look out.
As I've wanted to see light, I see a lot of flashing light. It's like 1,000 photographers, and it's blinding most of the time, and massive headaches and eye stuff. And even now, it's just like, wow.
Do you notice any improvement in your vision right now?
It's just brighter, less fog.
Okay, this is a good thing. Awesome. Oh, let's do a quick one on the corneas, okay?
Yes. And
Okay.
focus.
What is the problem within the corneas and lenses? And the problem is within the corneas. Okay, we're going to go for the lenses. Lenses. Act on the lenses and says, all right.
Also, Chris, I've had, from my earliest recollection, double vision.
Okay.
And one eye was patched as a child and another has gone back and forth as different eyes of being dominant or more capable. So it's almost like I was only able to function with the sight from one eye because the double vision just made things worse.
Okay. We're going to do the same thing with the lenses and corneas, use tachyons to repair the damage and to bring them up to full vitality.
Yes.
Okay? Because we've taken away the stressor, which is the sin. Okay, that was the basic one. Okay, here we go.
And a unified vision, maybe.
Okay. Within Hilton's corneas and lenses, send and use tachyons to repair all damage and return vision to 2020. Unified, harmonized vision. Send and use tachyons to repair the corneas and lenses. Return them to full vitality. Okay, now we've done that within all of the electrons. Within the lenses and corneas, electrons, true. Electrons, true. Okay, electrons are now realigning. Okay, we're going to put you on hold for a minute. We're going to go to Daniel.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, you're so very welcome. It's my pleasure. Okay, Daniel, you told me what's going on. You want to tell everybody else?
Paranoid schizophrenia and petit mal seizures.
Okay, so now you, of course, you hear voices.
Yes.
Okay, I'll tell you right now, the voices are there. Okay, they're not something coming out of nothing. The voices are really there. Now, when you have a seizure, what leads up to the seizure?
I don't know. It's just they happen every once in a while during random events. Just during school was one of them. One of the times when I was in school, a lot of the times I would get that problem, and then also they because of that they sent me into a special ed class, but that didn't seem to be helping much either.
Okay, so there's nothing that really leads up to it. No event that triggers it. Nothing triggers it. It just kind of happens whenever it happens.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there anybody else in your family that has this?
My sister had epilepsy.
What about your cousin Phil?
Yeah, my cousin as well, but we're not related by blood.
Okay, that doesn't matter. Okay, let's see. What problem? What do we need to do first for Daniel? Okay, and the problem is within his. Okay, the problem is within the brain. There is a shamanic reptilian within his. Okay, we're going to remove a shamanic reptilian from your brain. There we go. You ready?
Yeah.
Woohoo.
It's not going to hurt. It's not going to
Let's
hurt.
do it.
Here we go. Within Daniel's brain. Cut all cords and connections with the shamanic reptilian and send it to ether. Within the brain. Daniel's brain, shamanic reptilian false. Shamanic reptilian false. He's fighting back a little bit. Shamanic reptilian false. In the brain. Shamanic reptilian. There it goes. That is now lifted. Let me know if you feel any sensation. Okay, you might feel uplifted. You might feel a chill or something. What problem now for Daniel, please? Problem is.
I do feel a lot calmer.
There we go. Okay, brain. Okay, brain stem is remove. Okay, within Daniel's brainstem, entire brainstem, Lucifer's jinn, false. In the brainstem, Lucifer's jinn, false, send him to ether. Okay, so they are leaving your brainstem.
I could feel that.
Beautiful. What problem now for Daniel, please? And the problem is within the brainstem is high levels of within the brainstem all witchcraft false. Lift all witchcraft from the brain. Shamanic witchcraft in the brain stem, false. Shamanic witchcraft in the brain stem is leaving. Now we got to get rid of the manifestation because the witchcraft creates something in the brain stem. In Daniel's brain stem, manifestations of shamanic witchcraft, false. That is not leaving.
Wow.
Starting to feel a little lighter?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Calmer
Nice.
too
Wow.
than I've felt in a long time.
Wow.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you, brother. All right. What problem now for Daniel? The problem is the big problem is gone. And the brainstem is okay. Within Daniel's brainstem, electrons true. Entire brainstem within the pons, Atlas wedge, Abdullah Mangata, entire brainstem, electrons true. Electrons true. All cells in the brainstem. Electrons true. There we go. Things should start to go back together really quick. I did this method with someone in Scotland this morning with ALS, putting the electrons back together, and he said he felt something. We've worked about 10 times already, trying to get something to move, trying to figure him out. And we did the electron thing, and all of a sudden he felt something change, because his muscles are always twitching with the ALS, and they stopped twitching. So that tells me there's validity to making that intent to correct that problem. How's it feeling now?
Definitely better. Definitely
Okay.
better. I felt movement in that area.
Very nice.
In my brainstem.
Okay, we're going to ask the question a little differently here. What question is optimal for Daniel? Okay, so we're going to ask, where is the most congestion within Daniel's body? So for the most part, for everybody, I've been using my letter chart, talking with source. Now we're going to go into the chart system and see what it says, okay? Where is the most congestion within Daniel? All right, most congestion within Daniel, please. This gets a little more specific. Okay, we're going to look within the dark matter of your body. Dark matter is all the spaces between the cells and molecules, okay? Now, what is causing congestion in the dark matter within Daniel's body? Okay. What is causing congestion in the dark matter of Daniel's body? Okay, now this is interesting. I like this answer because I just put this answer in here just before the show started. It's something I came across and discovered and consider it as a possibility. So we are carbon-based life forms. If there was something that was not human, let's say a rock or a robot, we would consider that a silicon-based life form. So we're going to remove a silicon-based life form from the dark matter of your body.
Silicon?
Silicon-based, yes.
Okay.
Here we go. In the dark matter of Daniel's body, silicon-based life forms, false. Send them to ether. Silicon-based life forms, false. Well, we're getting some resistance, so there's definitely something there. That is now lifting. Let me know if you feel any shift from that one.
My stomach feels lighter.
Nice, okay. Wish I could make my stomach feel lighter. Okay. All right. Now we're gonna carry on with that question. Now I'm gonna spend a little bit more time on you because if we stop at a certain point and don't close the door, it could backlash on you a little bit. I don't want that to happen. Did that to somebody on one radio show once, and it was like, whoa, what happened to this person? It wasn't nice. So you got to finish the job. Okay, now where is a silicon-based life form within Daniel? It was a Randy Morgan show. Okay, now where is silicon-based life form within Daniel? Okay, we're going to go into the carbon element. Daniel's carbon element, silicon-based life form, false. Take it to ether. Silicon-based life form, false. That is now leaving. Okay, now let's go back to the letter chart. Source. What problem do we need to work on within Daniel? And the problem is okay, so just spelling out that bling is here. I don't know what that means. Okay. Now, the problem within Daniel is reptilians are within his... Okay, let's get him out of your sympathetic. Daniel's sympathetic nervous system, reptilians, false. Send them to ether. Cast out the reptilian from the sympathetic nervous system. Say goodbye to anxiety. Reptilian is leaving. Problem now for Daniel, please. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask specifically about the voices. See if we can get an answer. What is the cause of the voices within Daniel? Cause of voices is, the cause of the voices is gone. Okay. Now seizures is gone. And the intent to heal Daniel is intent to heal Daniel is, okay, the intent to heal you is made. We've made the intent. That is now going to carry out, and you're going to feel more changes. All of you are going to feel changes for the next 12 to 24 hours. It'll take that long for all the energy to process. There'll be little bits and pieces leaving here and there. It'll be sitting there. All of a sudden, you feel a wave of energy. You'll feel a shift go through you. Tomorrow morning, you'll wake up and go, wow. Okay? Okay.
Thank you.
How are you feeling, Yaz?
I wanted to bring up the fact that I went to see a urology doctor. He told me that the ego is connected to your nervous system and your hormones. So I was wondering if you could just ask that on the chart.
Okay. Now, what is the ego? The ego is that reptilian. A reptilian, they have the personality, lots of anger, lots of confrontation, very competitive, very egotistical, very in your face. Like if you were to meet somebody of a high reptilian energy, and they're very, very competitive, and they're always yelling and screaming, a lot of anger, that type of thing. They're high reptilian. Let's check your ego, okay?
My ego is damaged. He said my ego's damaged in my eyes. So I wanted to just ask that.
Okay, what is the problem within Yaz's ego? Okay, and the problem is, big problem is gone. Okay, sin is the problem. So sin was the problem, it's now gone. You felt it leave when I worked on Hilton.
Sin was the problem?
Sin was the problem in your ego.
Oh. Something I may have done a long time ago?
Yeah. Generally, it's going to be a past life. And as I said, if you've done some kind of satanic worship, some kind of sacrifice, something like that, something to do with somebody's life or offering of somebody's life is generally what it's going to be. Okay?
I just want to ask a question. When I was a child, growing up to about a teenager and to some part an adult, my father used to do a lot of research with Caribbean religions. So when he was doing his research, I was usually there with him in these countries of the Caribbean. Could that have impacted?
Yes. Very, very. It not necessarily, but you know what? If it walks like a duck and talks like a duck, you're in harm's way when he's doing those things. The Caribbean religions, lots of voodoo, lots of black magic, lots of different incantations that they'll use. They can be very strong. As you said, as you went into a shop with somebody, was it Santeria?
Yeah.
Okay. You know what? The Puerto Rican is very strong with Santeria. There's a lot of different areas of Central America that are very much into it. That's the same as if you go to the Middle East. Okay, they practice Sharia law. Okay, which manipulates jinn, and that's the same thing that all these other things do. Is they end up manipulating jinn to go in and do something for you. Okay, to make a problem. So you're in the the crosshairs of a gun when you're around that, when it's happening. It's certainly a possibility. Yes. So let's see, Daniel, if within you is any of that energy. Okay, what problem do we need to work on within Daniel? Problem is Okay, spelling out that Caribbean magic is within his father's soul. Okay, so you didn't get hit. You didn't get it, but there was a problem that was caused possibly by that same energy, but it's not within you. It's in your father's soul. You may have, received that through your father, but you don't have it.
Well, my father passed away a long time ago. He suddenly collapsed in the subway. And, I've always thought that was very odd.
Yeah, you have to know that these energies are extremely strong. They really don't discern. Okay, they are ruthless. They're strong. You look at so many people nowadays with all of these huge problems. Where do they come from? And the medical community really has no answers. They'll speculate. Oh, it's genetic. It's in your DNA. That's the best that they can do. I'm not going to bash the medical system because God love them. We need them. Source love them. We need them. Okay, you don't want me stitching up your intestines back in your body after a car accident. That's for sure. So the medical community works within this box of science. I work within this non-box of anything is possible. So where do all of these wicked health problems come from? All these things that cause people to walk with their arms flailing. Where do these voices come from? Where do all of this stuff come from? It's all in this etheric realm that we can't see, feel, or heal or see. So you have to be open-minded to the whole concept of something else is here. Okay? ET is here. Disclosure has happened. Look on the internet. It's everywhere. Disclosure has happened. Is there gray aliens and reptilians? Who cares? It doesn't matter. We can take care of them now. We've got the ability to do it. We have the knowledge now that we can actually do something about it. Is there spaceships? If there is, great. Whatever. Go for a ride. Doesn't matter. Okay. Is there a base on the moon? Maybe there is. Maybe there isn't. I don't know. When are we going to find out? Let's go to the moon and have a look. Okay. But right now, it's a lot of stuff is conspiracy. You got to learn to separate and filter the conspiracy, and ultimately, whatever's in your heart, whatever your heart says, it's called thinking heart, mind. That's what the answer really is. If you believe, if your heart says that is there, then it's there. Okay, don't question it. It's faith in your heart. It's faith in source. It's faith in what you believe in. Okay, so all of these health problems, they all have an energy component. They all have a beginning. Okay, and it does start to change the physical components in your body. It changes the electrons, changes the protons, it changes the way the cell works, and then your body starts to break down. That's aging, okay? That is true aging. So as you get older, your eyes, your vision goes away, your memory's not as good because everything is breaking down because these electrons are separating, okay? And it's because of the energies. Now, we look at all of the garbage chemicals we're putting into our body, aspartame, glyphosate, you name it, elemental P, all of these things, the aluminum from deodorants, okay, all of this stuff is clogging up the cells, and it's causing the electrons to separate, and it's causing the cells to break down. That's really what's going on here. Two different things to look at, the energy component, the nasty component, and the physical component.
Chris, I just want to ask you about, if we're not done with these guys, then let's continue. I figure we got about 15, 20 minutes left. But you mentioned that, anybody watching this and seeing you using that geometric device that you got would be helped similarly. Can you just talk a little bit about that?
Well, when I'm doing these demonstrations, okay, and I call them demonstrations, it's not a full-out healing, but it is accomplishing something. I've always noticed that if there's a chat box or a call-in line, people are commenting, "Whoa, did I feel that? Whoa, I have to go puke." So the energy is going everywhere. Okay, it's being transmitted through the internet. And if you're listening to it, you might, and if that problem is within you and I make that intent to remove it, it just might go in and take it out of you too. Okay? So that's why I always say, I make a little disclaimer, if you don't want to participate, just make the intent, I don't want to participate, and it won't happen. We've seen all kinds of things happen doing these radio shows. It is a wonderful, wonderful way to show how this works.
Now, do we have time to do any more, or anyone else?
What about you?
Chris, I'm thinking. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Who?
I got somebody else in the other room I'm going to go talk to. And how about me? I don't feel anything physical, but I'm just wondering, because you got, I don't know what you're doing, but there's maybe something that's not physical that.
Okay, let's do this. Let's do something that everyone can experience. Okay, and right now this is all about experiencing the energy and feeling a shift and knowing that something happened. Okay, now what if we're going to do this for everyone listening? This is beneficial for everyone. We're going to use a neutralization ring. Okay, this is one of my neutralization rings. What this does is it pulls negative energies off of your body. It cleans up the aura. It takes all the vestiges off and helps the whole process to continue. Okay, so what I need everybody to do is to stand up. Okay, standing of the up.
We're all standing up.
You're all standing up? Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my microphone in here. Now, I'm going to make the intent to place a gold neutralization ring between the feet of people in the room and people listening at home. Now, you tell me when you feel a sensation of heaviness, off balance, or some tingling. If you notice, I'm rocking back and forth too on this.
Yeah, I do.
Well, I'm rocking too. I'm starting to rock.
Yeah, that's pushing me back. Okay, so it is working. So we're going to give this about 2 minutes. Now, everybody at home, you're going to feel this. I made the intent. It's all about intent. What do I intend to do? Place one of these rings between your feet to do this work, to do the clearing. It's not too often that happens with me. Okay. So can everybody feel a little something going on?
Yes.
Yes.
No denying that this is working. That's what the benefit of these sacred geometry tools is that they already have a built-in intent to do something. These rings are intended just to clear energy off of your body. You don't have to say anything or tell them what to do. This is what they're intended to do. All right, everybody have a seat, please. And all you people at home have a seat too. So what that did is it just finished the job. We just cleaned the slate and we closed the door on that clearing. Okay, some people call it a backfill. What this did is it finished the job. Where did Hugh take off to? Did we scare him away?
I'm running the cameras here.
I feel a tingle in my left leg again. I don't know if it came back or what.
Okay, hold on. Let's have a look. Sometimes this loosens something up. What is the tingle within Yaz's left leg? And the tingle is something is leaving. Okay, so that just sped up the process a little bit. So there's something leaving. Hugh.
I'm here.
I'm
not sure.
You have somebody else for me?
Oh well, we have Lalo here. I brought her in for the. There she is. For the that general clearing there. And Lalo, I don't know if.
Well, I actually want to ask you a question because I have looked at sacred geometry and looked at energy healing, and I do a little bit of it myself, but only when somebody is in my sphere, and I don't go looking for it necessarily. Now, I think, Hugh, you were about to say that you weren't sure if you felt anything. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And so my question is that I come across people sometimes as well who, I'm actually feeling a lot of your energy right now while I'm talking to you, so it's kind of making it hard to focus. But do you know if there's a way for us to open up the energy channels in a way to open the door, something like maybe an opening or an activation that would help someone who's not able to experience the feeling of these energy exchanges?
The answer is yes, but what I find within what I do is if you don't feel the energy right away, in a day or so you might, or in 2 hours. Some people have a delay. And when I first started doing this, I thought something was wrong because somebody wasn't feeling the energy. But what I realized is that there could be a delay, or your body just isn't sensitive. You don't have to feel it for it to work. But the answer to that is yes. We could focus on that to see what needs to be activated, opened, or cleared in order for things to be felt.
Excellent. Maybe we should ask that for Hugh. Ask what Hugh needs activated, opened, or cleared.
All right, for Hugh to feel quantum energy, what is the problem? Problem is,
You're an alien.
crown chakra is closed. Let's open Hugh's crown chakra, shall we?
Yeah, that sounds like a great idea.
Okay. Hugh's crown chakra, true. Crown chakra, true. Crown chakra, true. There, it is now open.
Excellent.
It is now open. Now, what problem do we need to work on within Hugh? Problem is his socks don't match his runners.
Sometimes that's true, but not today.
This is okay. Hugh's entire chakra system, true. Activate. Hugh's entire chakra system. Hugh's chakra system, true. Okay, there it is. There it goes. Now, it's going to take a little bit of time for that chakra system to completely activate and open. But all of a sudden, you might start to feel a little bit of incoming, we call it.
I could feel, some kind of...
Like a dome?
well, my temples are... hard to say
Tingling?
what, but
Like they're
sort of
pressure?
like or a rumbling, or... yeah.
Okay.
Sensation.
That chakra is opening. Good. Okay. What problem now for Hugh is his chakra system. All right. Hugh's chakra system, source true. Connect Hugh's chakra system directly to source. Hugh's chakra system, source true. There you go. Now you're plugged in.
Nice. Okay, that's
That
awesome.
is wonderful.
Thank you. Now, before, we still got
I have a question.
5 minutes. Okay, Hilton, go.
Yes. So, Chris,
Yes.
from as early as I can remember, I have struggled with, I guess, my real willingness to be here. this sense of being human, yet wanting to be, for lack of better words, better, divine, one, not two. So the thinking, and I lived so much of my youth and life in my head. And as I've worked to align my emotions, and my body into one action, one life, one light, one love, I still find myself battling what I perceive as darkness, where I might perceive it outside in the world or in someone else, and I take it on within, and then I'm stuck. And I'd like some help with this.
Okay, we're going to do a couple. We don't have time to go deep into it because that's a concept that needs some time. Okay, I know what you're talking about, and I know I've done that type of thing, and that is multiple clearings and possibly going into past lives and picking those out a little bit. But I'm going to do two things that are going to help rise you up above that a little bit. Okay. All right. Hugh's higher self, source, true. Higher self, source, true. Okay, that is connecting. Now, Hugh's soul, source, true. Hugh's soul, source, true. Now, Hugh's heart, source, true. Hugh's heart, source, true. All right, now here's what we're going to do. Within Hugh, heart, mind, thinking, true. Heart, mind, true. Okay, so what we did is connected a whole bunch of stuff to the good stuff, and we put you in a heart-mind mode. So that you're not always thinking about what's going on. You're taking the ego out of it by thinking heart-mind, okay? So now everything is going to rest here. When you think of something, the right thing to do, it's going to rest here instead of trying to logically figure it out.
Thank you.
And by following your heart, you're going to realize, okay, it's not such a big deal.
Beautiful.
I think some good things happened here today, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, now here's Lalo. Got a couple minutes. Lalo here. She's got, I don't know, is there anything you can specifically, glean about her? And Lalo, I don't know, do you want to make a comment first on this?
Well, I know we don't have very much time. I want to say thank you very much for demonstrating all of this, because I think that this is the new medicine. I think energy medicine is the new medicine, and that this might all seem very strange and unbelievable, but in fact it's not, and I'm definitely feeling it. Now, I'm coming in kind of late here. I myself suffer from symptoms related to post-traumatic stress disorder, which are connected to experiences of, deep experiences of fear. Mm-hmm. And so as much healing as I've done, or as much wisdom teachings as I've taken in, I can still be triggered and just, kind of sent right into the stratosphere emotionally.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Let's do a couple quick clearings here.
Okay.
How do you say your name again?
Penny.
Penny. Okay. Penny. Within Penny, sympathetic nervous system, reptilian, false. Cast out the reptilian from Penny's sympathetic nervous system into ether. Okay, that reptilian is leaving. Penny's sympathetic nervous system, true. Source, true. Penny, sympathetic nervous system. Source, true. Okay, now within Penny's soul, post-traumatic stress, false. Lift all post-traumatic stress in Penny's soul. Lots in there, dear.
Yeah.
Post-traumatic stress in the soul, false. Plenty. Yeah, that is lifting out. That in itself is going to make a big difference.
I actually feel like I can actually feel energy literally rising up in my body.
So now when you work on yourself, if you do some energy work, it's going to be so easy now. We pulled the plug out of the bottle, and now everything is going to flow out.
Wow. My neck just cracked to confirm that. Nice. Wow, I feel really nice. I do.
I don't know why, but I'm very relaxed right now.
What?
I felt very relaxed when he was talking about the PTSD coming out, because I felt that too.
Right. Okay, Chris, this is pretty awesome. Obviously, it's having a big effect on everybody, and I just want to say thank you for doing this today. And now, what people watching this, I guess people can get in touch with you. Obviously, you can do the healing work to anywhere on the planet.
Yes.
Do you want to maybe just tell people how they can get in touch, and any final words you want to leave people with today?
Absolutely. My website is chriskehler.net, ChrisKehler.net. If you want to book an appointment, right now I'm booked up into November, okay? But it's worth the wait, all right? It's worth the wait. I recommend people book at least 3 appointments, 1 a week consecutively. That way we can get the job done. So my fees for this is $70 a session. Cheapest you're going to find anywhere, okay? Most people do this work are $100, $150, $300. Okay, I like to keep it at a level where people can afford it, and I don't need to make $1 million. Things are good in my world. I don't need all that money. So check out my website, chriskehler.net. You can book an appointment online. I have a ton of videos on YouTube. Okay, a lot of other radio shows I've done. My own radio show on Pyramid One Network is on there, and a lot of little mini videos that I do updates, maybe once a month, once a week, different things I find, I do an update. So lots of information on YouTube. You can find me on Facebook. I'm everywhere. You can't get away from me.
Nice. I just want to know if you could just spell your last name one more time in case people are just listening.
The last name is Kehler, Kehler.
Excellent.
And that's the website, chriskehler.net. And Chris, thanks again for doing this. And please, if you're coming to Toronto ever, come visit us in person. We would love to meet you.
Anything can happen, and you know what? I'd love to meet you guys.
It'd be great to
Thank
have
you.
you.
Thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Blessings to everyone.
Blessings
Thank
to
you, Chris.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So I guess that's it for this special edition of Liquid Lunch. And thanks to Chris, of course. And thanks to you guys for coming in today. And I hope it was worthwhile. I know it was, actually.
Truly
so,
special. Thank
yeah.
you for being so special, Hugh.
Awesome. Thank you, Hilton. So thanks, everybody. And we'll keep our eyes on the results as we move forward. So that's it. HearFromThatChannel.com, everybody.
Awesome.
We'll see you next time.
See you.
Watch that channel.
See you.